Welcome back, everyone. This week we're continuing with the second part of my interview with Andrew Fisher of Idaho Public Radio on the topic of objectives and key results, also known as OKRs. I met Andrew a few months ago, discovered that we had shared interests. We both agreed that we would read the book Measure What Matters, and then come together again and record our discussion and what we had learned for your benefit. Last week, Andrew and I began the series on OKRs by defining what OKRs are, and then describing our journey on the topic to that point. This week, we give you the history of OKRs as a system, from its roots in the thinking of Peter Drucker, to its formulation and use with Andy Grove at Intel, to its popularization recently through John Doerr, his success at Google, his TED Talk, and his current book. I then provide the kind of examples of what OKRs actually look like as they would be tuned towards my business. The OKR framework itself is pretty simple, but many people struggle to create meaningful objectives, to translate those terms, objectives and key results, to their own reality so that they create the kind of objectives and key results that actually work. Now, for those just tuning into the series, I again need to give you an apology. We recorded this over Zoom, and so there's a significant lag. I would typically want to bypass this and start over again, but I think the content's really good, and I trust you will too. So please treat this like a podcast. Keep listening and get everything you can out of it. With that, let's return to the interview in progress. So,
Okay. You hinted at, and we've kind of been dancing around this. The book Measure What Matters and John Doerr. For the uninitiated, who's John Doerr? What's Measure What Matters? I mean, it's a book, but how did it come to be? What's the history of the book and the history of OKRs?
So, Peter Drucker, do a quick little history. Peter Drucker, profound management thinker that really moved us from where it was with Frederick Winslow Taylor and Ford to where basically people are just cogs, put them on a machine and tell them what to do, to wait, no, people are people. And, Drucker was the one that got to start thinking about, hey, it's important that we engage folks. And leadership is not just ordering. Okay, so he brought in, at the time, management by objectives. And the idea was, let's don't tell them how to do it. Let's put something important in front of them, tell them the result, and then let them figure it out, that's motivational. So he took a step forward, but he recognized later in his career that there was only so much. There was limits to his management by objectives. Well, Andy Grove, who famously took Intel to world-class heights and made it the company that it is, he took MBO and made it Intel's. That's what he called it, actually. He didn't call it objectives and key results. He used the terms, we're going to create objectives and key results, but he called the program Intel's Management by Objectives. Okay. And there, he was the one that simply said, hey, everybody in our organization is going to be run by objectives. We're going to hit these important things that we align ourselves to, and that everybody in the organization will also align themselves to those objectives and objectives that they create for themselves that move themselves in the business forward. So everybody's going to be measured. And oh, by the way, we're going to make this open. And so everybody can see everybody's objectives. Nobody can hide. Okay, so that was Andy Grove. He had an engineer who was probably about your age, in the mid-70s. I don't know, but I'm guessing just from what you've told me about your recent college experience. 20s, 30s, kind of right in there. John, is it Doerr or Doerr?
I think it's Doerr.
Okay. Okay.
But, yeah, I think it's Doerr, John Doerr.
Doerr. Okay. Okay. So John Doerr was an engineer who worked under Andy Grove, and he drank the Kool-Aid. He saw what it did for Intel. Well, he left there. He joined a venture capital firm, I think as a financial guy, or I don't exactly know where he went professionally, but he's been part of venture capital firms that were the people that brought money to Google and said, oh, by the way, we'll give you money, but you got to put this objectives and key results thing in. And he did it when Larry Page and Sergey were out in their garage. And that's been the backbone of Google's success and their achievement and their pushing to innovative places. And gosh, there's who else? Andrew, do you remember in the book who else kind of was highlighted?
There were quite a few. It was Intel. I mean, who else was there?
Bono. Okay, Bono's nonprofit work.
I think it was called the One is his organization.
One Foundation, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe also Bill Gates Foundation.
And several others. I mean, forgive us for not being up on the details of this, but the point is that John Doerr has been going to each of the companies that really his very successful VC firm is behind, and says, oh, by the way, here's a great management process to run. And he's got the success stories to talk about. Well, he did a TED Talk a year or two ago, and he wrote this book. And it's gotten enough traction that people are really stepping up and taking notice. And
all right, so OKRs, I think I understand them because I've read the book, which, by the way, Measure What Matters. I don't know if we mentioned that before, by John Doerr. That one right there.
Yes.
I gotta admit, I haven't read the book. I've listened to the audiobook 3 times, but I have not read the actual hard copy. I have one. In fact, I have several, and I've loaned them all out.
Yes.
That is probably the most influential book I've read, I believe. I mean, we'll find out because it's new to me, but I think I understand what an objective and a key result is. But could you go through what an example of what that would look like?
Sure.
What's the difference between an objective and a key result?
Okay, so objectives are the important achievements that we must we got to hit if we're going to succeed in a business. They grow out of, so they're not divorced from. They got to be embedded within your mission, which then which says, here's what we're trying to accomplish, biggest picture as a company. Then nestled within that, if you think of nesting bowls, okay, so inside of that are the strategies. That is, what must we do in order to what must we do well in order to succeed as a company? And then within that, now we get to objectives. Okay, so if let's see if it would be best if I can find an example. And I'm looking over here on my other screen because I've been, as part of this, as part of drinking the Kool-Aid, not only am I implementing it, I've introduced it to 2 clients. And we've actually done our first little steps on creating some objectives to get started and key results. And I've also started mine, okay, because that really is the proof in the pudding. If it really works, let's talk about, it's got to work for me too. right? So at least that's the way I get good at stuff. For the stuff that I bring to clients is stuff that I've actually used either on myself or my family or something like that, and we go, yeah, that really works. Okay,
That's cool.
so if the let me give an example from my business right now. My fundamentally, I work with clients in kind of a long-term way, a short number of clients, typically doing in-depth organizational development work. Okay. So with that, I have to grow my business. I have to have a steady stream of people that I'm interacting with. And one of the things that I've found is that I have a higher conversion rate amongst people who actually get to see me do what I do. Okay, so some of setting good objectives and key results is you got to know your business and how you win, right? Okay, so now within that, I actually have two objectives that I've identified because I need to get in front of people much more frequently than I'm doing now. So one of my first objectives is to line up 2 speeches per month in front of important audiences. Now, notice how that. That's what's an objective? It needs to be significant, as in if you actually achieve the objective, it does provide real value to the business. It's got to be beyond what you would normally do. So if that's just something that's part of my job description and I do it anyway, it doesn't get on the objective list. The truth is, no, I'm going to have to divert time, effort, thinking, resources to move toward hitting that objective, which is to get in front of audiences on a regular basis. Okay, so what are the key results, those measurable pieces in order to get there? And this is where I haven't yet lined them out, but ones that are going to somehow make it. So I don't have the proper wording, but I'm going to be getting list of local SHRM chapters, SHRM Society for Human Resource Management, because lots of people who are buyers of my stuff, that's one significant audience. So for me, a key result to happen right away is to make sure I get a list of the potentials.
Something that you could check off a list. I mean, it's pretty clear that it was accomplished.
Yes. So a key result, and this is also a difference from typical goal setting. Will oftentimes the way goals are done is how close did I get to doing that, whereas key results ideally are worded and looked at and designed in such a way that we could just simply look at them and say we did it or we didn't do it. So it makes for, by taking away the haze and the fuzz, it makes for more focused execution. It drives our efforts and our behaviors. Another one for my business.
Oh, real quick. It sounds to me like objective is kind of the hazy version to get you started. And then the key result is sort of unhazing it.
I think in some ways, and actually, so in my learning process right now, because I am very much deep in the learning, trying to figure this out. It's like, okay, at different times, is that the only difference? And in some ways, at least here's where I'm starting to be. There's not an objective metric out there that says, here's what an objective is and here's a key result.
Yeah.
You're always looking to just say, hey, first of all, what would be a significant accomplishment? What do I really want to make happen in my business? Another objective for me is grow my YouTube channel. Okay, so a key result for me, I've got 75 I think subscribers as of now, but I've been kind of right at that point for 6 months. So for me, a significant key result that is going to happen within a quarter is I'm going to push it to 100. Now here's the other part. So key results are measurable, but they're also, they stretch. They're the kind of things that if you don't have a little bit of a gulp factor when you create it, John Doerr says you probably not, you don't have something that's a real key result. So it should be stretching. But in addition, so there's key results can not only be the measurable goal that I'm trying to hit, but they also can become the building block that enables that. So how am I going to get to 100 subscribers this quarter? I haven't fleshed all of these out. It may be contact every person I know and offer to come wash their car if they will go on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. But that would be an example of what could be a key result, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to this, the second in our series on objectives and key results. If you haven't done so already, check out the first video in this series through the link in the description below. Hit that subscribe button for more videos in the series on OKRs as I release them, or other topics as I get to those. Add your comments. Tell me what you like, how you go about goal setting and focused execution. And until next time, be well.